have a total of 375 submissions to date, and we put it out there. It had to be digital, which is what we could all handle from home, right? But beyond that, we said, kind of left it open-ended. You know, tell us, share your experience in whichever way is comfortable for you. And for some people, that meant writing out a story. Sometimes there was fiction, sometimes it was a journal entry, sometimes it was an essay, sometimes it was just talking about what was going on in their lives. For many people, it was a photograph of things in their world that were suddenly completely different than they had been. Like we got a lot of the parked closed sign, which I think was particularly poignant in the spring as the weather became beautiful and all the parks are roped off and, you know, children can't play on the playground. Or the lines. You know, we live in America, where we're used to getting anything we want at our fingertips whenever we want it, and suddenly you couldn't get toilet paper, and you couldn't get soap, and you couldn't get paper towels, and that was, you know, for people used to plenty, it was hard to have lack, you know, and we wrapped our heads around having to stand in line only to be met by empty shelves when we went into the stores. Some people expressed themselves through artwork, and we were really stunned by the creative outpouring that happened. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I think they say that Shakespeare wrote Macbeth during the Great Plagues of London. So, you know, I guess it shouldn't be surprising that people turn to a creative outlet. But we had this woman who saw, she doesn't know, the artist doesn't know this healthcare worker, but she saw this image and was just struck by the exhaustion and the anguish in this woman's eyes and felt compelled to, you know, do this just in her sketchbook, this wonderful thing that he's drawing here. This woman was hopeful that the COVID crisis would, by stopping everybody from moving for a time, would maybe give the planet a chance to breathe and reinvent itself. So this was her vision expressed here. Another woman in Chicago during stay at home, this was her view, you know, she wasn't going anywhere, she was staying in her apartment, and so her view for how many weeks was looking out that back window at, you know, another person's window and sort of that longing for an outlet or for escape or even a different view, but this is what she has. There's a powerful series done by an artist named Obi Wakwe of Chicago, and here, this was done early in the COVID crisis. So he has this man in his mask, and of course the coronavirus is behind him. And on this one, the number, which is 1,141,000, that was the total number of infected people in the world at the time. And of course now that number is, what is it, north of 7 million? So, you know, this was just on an upswing that, you know, you could, it's like standing on the tracks and watching the train bear down on you, right? You've got these numbers and they're only going to grow. And then this one is a kid, I think this is a third grader from Chicago, and they used art to channel their angst from the pandemic as well, and that was the feeling, and I think a lot of us can probably relate to that, you know, like that kid nailed it. This is like COVID, you know, in an image. This other child drew this, and again, this impulse that came through from the artwork and from the submissions they received for people to connect and for people to come together, even as the virus is physically keeping us apart. And so she has these little stick figures, and they're all holding hands, even though, you know, I guess we can't hold hands in real life, but metaphorically she sees us as all holding hands together and saying we heal as one. And this truly is a public health situation where our well-being depends on the actions of others, and what we do can influence a stranger, you know, 6 degrees of separation away from us. And she envisions us all, you know, coming together. And in her submission, she said, I'm in 3rd grade, COVID is scary. I feel sad for the people affected with the virus. I always pray to God that this virus will end soon and heal the sick people. We also had photographs, kind of these poignant images from people's lives. And that was Zach's first submission, 24th out of 375. 75, where, his daughter masked, and just seeing a child in a mask is jarring too, almost as much as a playground roped off. It's this sort of arrest of expression and innocence that when we put a mask on a child, and looking out the window, looking to the outside world as we're all trapped inside, and just so moving for us. And then Mr. Matthews of Darien, how familiar a sight is this, dangling your mask out of the rearview mirror when you leave the house, you packed yourself down, do I have my wallet, do I have my keys, do I have my phone, do I have my mask, and who could have imagined a year ago that this would be a daily part of our lives, just how quickly we get used to these new things. And then of course the lack in the stores and the homeschooling. So I myself am a parent. My son was in 2nd grade in the spring, and with about 2 days warning, he came home and didn't go to school again. And so I was left to I don't know how to teach a kid, I don't even know how to entertain him for a day. And so thrown into the deep end of okay, let's keep this kid going and figure out how to get through it. And now, into the fall, he's still at home. He's still at home learning. And God bless all the educators who are going above and beyond and really, rising to the challenge. In my school, at some school at least, the teachers are superheroes, and it's going very smoothly. But it's not what anyone wants, the kids want to be with their friends. I want my son to be at school, the teachers want to meet their little people in person. But, here we are, the kitchen table is our new point of education. And then beyond that, we also got poetry, and this was one of the earliest ones. This was from a truck driver, and I'm going to read the whole thing to you because this stuck out as one of the most powerful submissions we received. COVID survivor. Am I an unknown angel with antibodies in my plasma, walking among all the masked congregants? They may see me as an unmasked devil rather than a source of deliverance from their great anxiety. I walk through Walmart, though I am looking through a camera lenses, recording activities of the disaster with dispassionate eyes as I see fear in their glances. Am I the devil in their view, or a willing angel wanting to share the cure in my blood? And that kind of spoke to all of a sudden, at a time when we most want people and we want to connect to people, we could unwittingly be the carriers of a virus that puts people in danger. And just the discord of this moment, wanting to connect yet needing to be apart. And then some people just had really poignant observances. Dave Sipple of Marengo, this came in more recently, so people are still understanding, but not as much as before. I hate that this pandemic has become so politicized. This student offered a profound observation. I'm an 18-year-old student. I was very excited for my senior year, graduation, prom, and all the other things that the future held, but my future is not so clear anymore. And reflecting the big question mark that we're all living through, where does this end? Why does this end? How does this end? And what do we look like on the other side? And maybe Tevi, who only gave us one name from Skokie, said, 2020, what a time to be alive. And this is sort of where the title of this mini exhibit came from, a Journal of a Plague Year. So this is a reference to a book by William Defoe that covered the Great Plague of London from 1665. Some things are eerily similar from that time and now, fear of illness, widespread panic, people buying into miracle cures or looking for these kind of quack things to protect their health. And it seemed like a way not only to nod to the fact that pandemics are unfortunately recurrent in human history, and people have experienced pandemics before and unfortunately probably will again, and to sort of place this in the context of that broader history, but also, this is a plague year, it's like almost a joke now, like whatever can go wrong seems like it is going wrong. But yet, as this sky is falling on us, here we are, we are all being tested. There's not a single person in the room who hasn't had their hardship and their challenges and their moment of despair, but we're here, we're getting through it, we are still putting one foot in front of the other. We will continue to do so, and we're building a new future as we go. And so we want this exhibit to reflect that and hopefully provide inspiration and provide something that people can connect to and say, yeah, that's me, I remember that, I felt that, I did that, I experienced that, but also see inside themselves and like, that grit is in me, that hopefulness is in me, that connection is in me, that survivor is me. So with that, I'm going to renew my plea. I hope you will consider contributing to this effort because I want everyone's stories as a part of this. And I will open myself up to questions if anyone has questions about the project.
I like seeing the one with the hair, Baldwin from Chicago, because to me, the hardest thing for me to deal with during the pandemic was how long my hair got before I got to go and get a haircut. And it hadn't been that long since high school, college, I guess. But I don't know, I like to hear about how the hardest thing some people say other things, but to me that was the hardest thing that I had to deal with.
Well, I tried to give my son a haircut, and boy, I had new respect for a professional hairdresser. That is not as easy as it looks. Yes?
Regarding hair, I know several people who use this opportunity to let their hair grow natural and not color it anymore.
Yeah, it's sort of, it redefined our idea of, our appearance. And one of my girlfriends said, I've been putting on lipstick. And I thought, gosh, I still put on lipstick, and why do I put on lipstick every morning? No one's going to see it. Are there any other questions? Or how about comments? Does anyone want to share a COVID experience or something that they see that they relate to, or a story of something that they have experienced?
I can't read all of what's written on her gown.
Let's see. My heart breaks for them. My heart drops. It's such a delicate balance. The aloneness is the same. This city is breaking, and something my heart. Yeah. I didn't even really notice that until you pointed it out. So well done.
Of course, the hardest thing really for me to deal with was the fact that we did not have an Illinois State Fair.
That was hard.
In August.
That was hard.
Because I went out there a lot during that, when it was supposed to be held, and Voss did sell corn dogs. I don't know if any of you took advantage of that, but I did get a corn dog at the Illinois State Fairgrounds.
And my son has questions now about Halloween, and I hope somebody's thinking about that because that's going to need to get sorted out here.
I miss seeing my grandson who was born last February. Not being able to see him, it's been a hard thing.
When was the last time you saw him?
It's Christmas.
Wow.
I see him virtually through the internet. He's growing quickly. Not the same.
I'd like to bring light to what our new artist of the decade said earlier about getting a new, I think that's awesome, the opportunity to have that relationship with your kid that you thought you would never have. There's a silver lining, there's collateral beauty that has happened because of COVID, and part of that is just the ability for us to communicate more, even though it may have been virtual. Because I think we've really gotten a sense of how much we miss our family, how much we need our family, and how often, hey, we need to do this every week. Yeah, we should. Whereas before, you're calling once who knows, right? So, and I know when I walk around the city with my walking partner, we see families outside, families, not just one kid here and there, riding bikes, doing things in the yard, walking together, and I love that. And I think you miss that. You hear kids outside. We weren't hearing that before this, and I really appreciate that. I'm a District 186 teacher. You both are, and we're online every day with our kids. Yes, we do miss them, but I'll tell you this too. The ones who are invested or feel like they can, you say this so much better than I do, but they feel like they can be themselves and not worry about other kids in class bullying, that's a silver lining. They can be in class and not worry about distractions. Kids that were distracted and would get called out for it are able to focus and concentrate. So there's a silver line, and I know people want to be in school, I get that, there's both sides. But the silver lining is there, the collateral beauty is there, and I hope we can capture that too.
Well said. Well said.
Smiles.
Smile behind the mask.
I find myself smiling at people in masks.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm like getting over now, but during like the beginning of the pandemic, this is something I just couldn't help but do. And I also learned how to smile with my eyes now. I didn't do that before. That's like the only thing you can see. So I was like, if I'm smiling, like if I squint a little bit, you'll see what I'm saying. I guess it's called smiling.
Smile. That's what Tyra Banks calls it.
Erica, do you want to talk about any like the holds or other things that we're historically that we're specifically more interested in getting more of from this project?
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. She asked if I wanted to talk about any of the kind of holes that we're trying to fill in terms of experience. Definitely anything current, because we had a huge push at the beginning when we first launched it, and it sort of trailed off a little bit, but you know, we're still here. So if we'd love stories from educators talking about teaching this new semester, that would be fantastic. Great, and assign it to your students too. We got student submissions. Love it. Yeah. So from parents' perspective, educator, teacher, healthcare workers, if anyone's had the virus, we'd love to hear about that too. And yeah, I think those were the main ones.
Okay, I have a tiny thing. I was just thinking about how so much of this is ways of connecting during hardship, or hardship that has lots of silver linings. And I was thinking even about how you were talking about smiling with your eyes. And somewhere in my brain I pulled out something about how not only are we looking for ways to connect that are using technology, but we're learning new ways to connect by, like, even if I can't hug you, I'm hugging you with my eyes, or being more clear, using words to hold somebody, or to say hello, or to greet, where before it could have been a handshake, or, you know, dabs or whatever. But like, so bringing our words to a new level so that we can hug each other that way as well. I have to play around with it, but there might be a poem in it later.
No, I love it. And I think what you guys are saying, what I'm hearing from everyone in this group, sort of reflects that human spirit, you know, like this is a tough time, but we're looking for the silver linings, we're finding the ways to connect, and that's in all of us, and that's out there, and something's coming from that, you know, even as things crumble and fall apart, something new is being born. It's like labor pains almost, you know, so it is, you know, there's reason for hope and faith in the human spirit, and we're in it, we're part of it, we're watching it. So yeah, I appreciate you all so much coming out here and opening your hearts, and it feels good, right? We haven't had people in this building to talk to in a while, so it's nice to connect like this.
being here with us and taking that opportunity to walk out your door and come somewhere else. We are so glad you chose to be with us. The museum is open 5 days a week, 10 to 4, and the team here has done a lot to keep you safe. So I hope you feel that way. We'll continue to do that, and we're open to feedback and ideas always. So welcome, and we'll see you again. Thank you for coming.